Drop the gun!
Houston, Texas. The date is Thursday, the 9th of May 2024. The afternoon air hangs dense over East Tidwell Road, a stretch of urban Houston where patrol officers regularly navigate a mix of traffic, foot movement, and unpredictable disturbances. In this area, incidents unfold quickly, sometimes without warning, and officers stay alert for sudden changes in sound or motion. As Officer Eakins patrols near the 600 block of East Tidwell Road, a sudden series of sharp cracks slices through the ambient noise. The unmistakable report of gunfire immediately redirects his attention. The sound is close, too close to ignore. Instinct and training converge, pushing him toward the source of the shots. He accelerates toward the area where the gunfire originated. Storefronts come into view, their parking lots scattered with cars and people startled by the loud disturbance. As he nears the scene, movement catches his eye. A man is sprinting in front of a small convenience store, clearly in flight. The man is armed, a pistol clutched in one hand, appearing freshly used. This individual, later identified as 36-year-old Christopher Michael Rodriguez, is at the center of the unfolding disturbance. His movement is frantic, driven by urgency rather than strategy. He runs past parked vehicles and around the corner of the building, creating a dangerous scene for anyone nearby. Officer Eakins stops his patrol vehicle and steps out, positioning himself to engage. The presence of an armed suspect in a densely populated area presents an immediate threat. Eakins calls out to Rodriguez, instructing him to drop the pistol. The officer's presence is clear and authoritative, but Rodriguez pays no attention. He continues running, turning away from the officer while keeping the firearm in his hand. The officer follows on foot while maintaining a safe distance, continuing to give verbal commands. The suspect shows no willingness to comply. Each moment heightens the threat level as Rodriguez remains armed and mobile. His direction of travel spreads the risk wider, endangering anyone who might unknowingly step into the path of the developing confrontation. As Rodriguez runs, his movements become more unpredictable. He looks over his shoulder, assessing the distance between himself and the officer. The pistol remains in his hand, more tightly gripped than before. The pressure of the moment seems to influence his posture as he adjusts his direction and pace. The officer continues issuing firm commands to stop and drop the weapon. The suspect's refusal escalates the tension further. With every second Rodriguez remains armed and moving, the danger intensifies. Even though the officer keeps to his training and protocol, the situation edges closer to a critical threshold. Rodriguez suddenly pivots. He turns partially toward the officer, the pistol still in his grip. The movement is abrupt, sharp, and concerning. In moments like this, officers must make split-second assessments of threat, behavior, distance, and the potential consequences of hesitation. Rodriguez's turn is perceived as an escalation, creating a scenario that could result in harm to the officer or bystanders. Officer Eakins, maintaining his stance, prepares for the possibility that Rodriguez might raise or use the firearm. The suspect's posture, combined with the knowledge that gunshots had just been fired moments earlier, forces the officer to adapt quickly. The danger is real. The unpredictability is immediate. The confrontation on East Tidwell Road already tense from the moment the gunfire rang out, moves steadily toward the inevitable. The officer tracks Rodriguez, who continues to ignore every command. The altercation that led to the initial gunshots is not yet fully understood, but what is clear is that Rodriguez remains a threat until the weapon is removed from his hand and compliance is achieved. The environment surrounding the pursuit is volatile. Vehicles in the parking lot act as obstacles. People nearby look for shelter. The noise of the street competes with the fast-moving footsteps of both suspect and officer. With each step, the situation shifts from chaotic pursuit to imminent confrontation. The chase across the small commercial lot transitions from movement to tension as Rodriguez continues forward, ignoring every attempt to halt the situation peacefully. The pistol in his hand becomes the focal point of every decision Officer Eakins must make. Until it is dropped, the risk remains active. Rodriguez shows no sign of slowing down. He cuts across the pavement, passing the edge of the store's property and moving toward an open stretch where cover becomes limited. The officer maintains pursuit, careful to keep a tactical distance while continuing verbal commands. The suspect's pace fluctuates. He stumbles slightly, then regains speed, as if his thoughts are shifting between escape and confrontation. The presence of the firearm makes every interpretation critical. The pistol is recovered as evidence. Officers secure shell casings and photograph the immediate environment. The suspect is charged with aggravated assault of a public servant, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and felon in possession of a firearm, all in the 230th State District Court. The scene at East Tidwell Road transitions from active emergency response to detailed procedural review. Officers begin walking through the timeline, ensuring every point of the encounter is accounted for. The initial gunfire that brought Officer Eakins to the scene remains central to understanding the events. Witnesses describe hearing shots before seeing Rodriguez running across the storefront. Some recall observing the suspect holding the firearm while moving between vehicles. Investigators collect these statements, adding them to the developing case file. Inside the command post, temporarily set up near the parking lot, supervisors coordinate body-worn camera reviews and officer interviews. The first priority is to document everything while memories are fresh. The threat posed by Rodriguez's refusal to drop the pistol is carefully analyzed, along with the moment he turned toward the officer while armed. At the hospital, Rodriguez is stabilized. His injuries, while requiring medical attention, are not fatal. Officers remain on site to secure chain of custody details for the evidence collected from him. This includes ensuring that medical personnel preserve any relevant items before treatment begins. As information flows in, the narrative becomes clearer. Rodriguez fired his weapon during an altercation with another male. He then fled the scene as soon as gunshots drew attention. His positioning, movement, and possession of the weapon all contribute to understanding the confrontation that followed. Meanwhile, at the scene, investigators examine the trajectory of bullets, the officer's position, and where Rodriguez turned. Evidence markers are placed on the pavement, identifying casings and key location points. The collected evidence supports the officer's account of events. Back at the station, supervisory personnel begin compiling a preliminary report. The officer's actions are reviewed in accordance with department policy. Emphasis is placed on the suspect's refusal to obey commands, possession of the firearm, and the moment he turned while holding the weapon. The district attorney's office is notified of the incident, as is standard procedure. They review the initial summary, confirming that Rodriguez's charges align with the events on scene. Aggravated assault of a public servant carries severe penalties, especially when a firearm is involved. Officers reflect on the encounter. The incident unfolded quickly, beginning with the sound of gunfire, a signal that immediate danger was present. The decision-making process, built on training and experience, guided every step from pursuit to engagement to medical aid. As the public becomes aware of the shooting, department officials prepare a statement summarizing the incident. Transparency is essential, especially in cases involving the use of force. Officials emphasize that the suspect was armed, non-compliant, and turned toward the officer with the pistol in his hand. The recovery of the firearm reinforces this. The pistol is secured and entered as evidence, confirming Rodriguez's possession during the entire encounter. The investigation continues steadily, ensuring every detail is preserved. Officers who responded as backup continue writing reports, documenting their arrival, actions, and assistance rendered. Every statement contributes to the full picture. As the evening settles over East Tidwell Road, the area returns to normal function. People walk past the storefront where the pursuit began. Cars continue to fill the parking spaces. But for those involved, the event remains vivid. This type of encounter highlights the unpredictable nature of police work in urban areas. A single sound gunfire can trigger a chain of events lasting only minutes but involving life or death decisions. The containment efforts by officers prevented the situation from expanding into a broader danger. The review process continues for several days, focusing on every detail from the gunshots heard initially to the final medical transport. The recovered firearm undergoes ballistic examination. The spent casings confirm that Rodriguez fired rounds moments before officers arrived. As the final reports are completed, the incident stands as a clear example of a dangerous confrontation involving an armed suspect who refused to comply and escalated the situation by turning toward an officer with a firearm. The events on East Tidwell Road conclude with the suspect hospitalized but alive, the officer uninjured, and a complete investigative record documenting every piece of the encounter.